The Salt Lake Bees announced that they are leaving downtown and going to a Daybreak ballpark. Right. And as somebody that's a Daybreak resident, this is a little scary for me. But I think it's an absolute brilliant business decision. And I think when you look at where professional sports in this town is, I think if you're the Salt Lake Bees, you have to be somewhere where you are a focal point of the community. AAA baseball is very difficult as a business model right now. So let me get this right. As a AAA baseball team, you have a chance to get a new stadium in a new community that solves a lot of your current infrastructure issues, and you're going to make a crap ton of money doing it. In a community, by the way, that you own. Because LHM owns Daybreak, and you're going to use the land that you already own to build a new ballpark and infrastructure for your team to succeed.
And by the way, it's no secret that Daybreak residents have some bread. So
yeah, this is a brilliant business move.
Yeah.
Fantastic business move. And I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh my God, how can you leave downtown? What will ever happen to baseball on West Temple?
And the Utes are not going to have anywhere to play baseball.
Well, here's the problem. You haven't supported baseball there. And from an infrastructure standpoint, why don't I go to more Bees games? Because I'm a passionate baseball fan.
Yeah.
Why don't I go to more Bees games? Because the parking's impossible. Getting out of there is next to impossible.
Yeah.
The only reason to go to a Bees game is get a peanut butter burger at Lucky 13.
Yep.
Because everything else is a pain in the ass.
Yep.
And frankly, the other thing that I think is so brilliant is how much is that land worth that Smith's Ballpark is sitting on?
Good bit.
It's a good bit of money. This is a solid business move. And everybody that's concerned about downtown and what will this mean to the downtown corridor, my guess is it's going to mean more high-density housing. It's going to mean more retail. I think it's good. That neighborhood is not rock solid. I think it needs redevelopment. This is, in my opinion, win-win. Yes, there is history and tradition on that corner. And I agree that some great things have happened there. And I agree that Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani and Babe Ruth and Hank Aaron have all played there. And now we're going to make new history in Daybreak.
Mm-hmm.
And it is one of the things that drives me crazy about our cool little town of Salt Lake City. We want to do things the way we've always done things. And we want to be nostalgic. And it's why the Delta Center is such a brilliant bit of business for Delta and for the Jazz. Because they know that in Salt Lake City, we like to go back. We don't like to move forward.
That's
we like to fantasize about Carl and John and Frank Layden and Adrian Dantley, and Don was a dick, so we moved him out of here. But man, who remembers? That's what we like to do. But frankly, what the Bees are doing and what LHM is doing here is nothing short of a brilliant bit of business. They're building their infrastructure, and they're building it strongly. And Daybreak, the plot of land that they're going to move this thing to in Daybreak.
Yeah.
This gives me a little pause, because if you know Daybreak, like here's the lake in Daybreak, right? Here's the island at Daybreak. Like these are all multi-million-dollar homes. U Health, is over here. Like, so you have all of this infrastructure, right? Like here's U Health right here. This is U Health. Right where the tracks line end, it dumps into U Health. Right across the street, if you just take Daybreak Parkway straight down, that's the Smith's grocery store there. And the yellow spots currently are empty. There's nothing there. They don't have to tear anything down. Those are blank plots of land. By the way, a certain somebody that I know lives like a block away from there. So it really impacts you. I live a good mile from where that's going to be.
Yeah.
So I don't think it impacts me that much unless we start talking about traffic, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But we in Salt Lake City have got to stop being nostalgic, and we've got to understand that progress is how business is done.
Yeah, I just think that, so I agree with that. And what's interesting is in other towns, being nostalgic is okay, because you can be nostalgic, but you can also appreciate the opportunity. So like I have the ability to say, because I'm not from Salt Lake, hey, Smith's Ballpark is awesome, right? It's great. Love it. Great. But the problem is it's 30 minutes from my house, and I don't like going up there for a Bees game. I just don't, because of parking and all the other issues. Now, with this new location, I also agree. It's brilliant. I also think that people who live downtown are all pissed off about it because now they don't get to walk 5 minutes to the ballpark, right? Like, join the club, right? Now you guys get to come south. So I think that depending on where you live right now and depending on if you're from here or not, you feel a certain type of way about it. I'm not from here. I live in Daybreak. I like this move. If I was from here and lived in downtown Salt Lake, I probably wouldn't love this move. Like, that's just the reality of it, you know? And so I get it. I empathize with these people. But I'm certainly, as someone who lives in Daybreak and rents in Daybreak and is going to be a block from this or whatever, I'm not necessarily upset about this. I do think it'll be really interesting to see how this kind of pans out, if that is indeed the spot. Like, you know, I know they're labeling it potential, you know, landing spot for their site or whatever. So if that is the spot, my only concern is traffic. That's my biggest concern. And I'm not even talking about traffic in and around Daybreak. What I'm talking about is traffic on major thoroughfares that I travel to get in and out of Daybreak, like 114th, like Bangor, like 106th, 124th, or 123rd, I think it is. Right? Like these major, you know, east-west thoroughfares that people who live on the East Bench who want to come to a Bees game are going to travel and come to Daybreak from. That's my only concern. And there are a lot of people saying, oh, well, hey, there's a UDOT expansion, which I believe there is. I'm just curious, hey, what are you going to do with Mountain View Corridor? Because if you put up the picture of the map, everybody can see, hey, Mountain View Corridor is this big thoroughfare that goes north and south, right? Where you have this big, you know, basically 2 lanes in both directions, split up by a big center median. So my question just simply is, how is all this going to work? Not that I have an issue living in my apartment 2 blocks from this, because frankly, I could tell you right now, if that's the landing spot, I will have season tickets and I'll go to a lot of games. Yeah, or I'll find a way to get in there on a credential or whatever I need to do. I will be there a lot.
I think my biggest concern is the 114th South is a huge concern. I have a lot of concerns about 106th. And then those both turn into South Jordan Parkway and West Daybreak Parkway. And they're not built for this kind of volume. And the other issue is, and to put that back up real quick, Mountain View Corridor right there is a death trap. And I'm not even being dramatic. If you follow the news, and I do because I live there, I try to avoid Mountain View Corridor because I've got to believe it is the most dangerous highway in Utah right now. There are, I want to say sadly, it's weekly, you know, fatal car accidents, fatal wrecks on Mountain View Corridor.
The issue is it's unchecked. So there are long stretches of Mountain View Corridor where there are not lights and there are not crossings, right? But you will come up, it's much like Bangor before the expansion and before they built overpasses, right? It's kind of that same thing where
you fly down there and then you get to South Jordan, you get to Daybreak South Jordan, and you've got that light where like Big O Tires is and where JCW's is and where Smith's is and the Mountain View Village, and that takes you into Harriman, and all of a sudden you're going from 85, 90. Frankly, I see people that do 85, 90, 100 on Mountain View Corridor every day.
Yeah.
And you're being asked to stop and break that down to 50 miles an hour, and it doesn't work. And then you get out towards the 15, and it just doesn't work.
So what does this really look like for those of us who live in Daybreak and who are going to experience this expansion?
If you look at this map, right, and you go out to the Ochre region and you go down to Daybreak, what you see is that I think they've got to expedite Bangor Highway getting built. You have to do it, because if you don't expand Bangor Highway and if you don't take out those stoplights, like the stoplight at 98th has got to come out. I mean, you've got to expand the roadways, and you've got to make Mountain View Corridor. I have to think there's money to do that.
Oh, yeah.
It just makes no sense. The other thing is, I think you're going to have to take out some of these traffic circles. Like downtown Daybreak, Soda Row is not ready for this. They're not ready for it. And you know what I think they're going to do? I think they're going to close. I think they're going to close Daybreak Parkway on game nights. I don't believe that you'll. And you know the other thing that's really scary about that? the U Health, that's my hospital. That's where my doctor is, my urgent care, emergency room, like hospital.
All of it, yeah.
Right there in Daybreak. I just think it's going to be a calamity. They are going to give you, I have to believe they are going to give you discounted tickets, and there will be free Trax transportation there. I have to think that's the only way it makes sense.
Well, and that's the beautiful thing. So that Trax location is actually really nice. And there have been, so I've lived right where this is for going on 3 years now, I believe it is. And that Trax location is prime for the bees to sit there. It's nice. The stations are really nice. It's safe. Like it's a really
There's a
nice
frontage road.
Now, my other question is, what does this do to crime rate in Daybreak?
Oh, it goes way up. There's already in Daybreak, I can tell you as a Daybreak resident, there's already a porch pirate problem. There's already a car theft, crime problem. I think you're going to see, like, if you're like right in that area there's got to be 10,000 apartments, and there's only more going up. I think you're going to see balcony pirates. I think you're going to see car crime. I think you're going to see garage crime.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger question is, does anybody here care that Bees baseball is leaving downtown?
Oh, I think a lot of people care.
You do?
Oh yeah, I think a lot of people care. You know what I wish, if I'm being really honest, I wish that people had the passion about the Grizzlies that they do about the Bees, because the Grizzlies offer you just as good of a product as
totally
the Bees
agree.
do.
Totally agree.
And my thing with the locationally, geographically speaking, it is way easier to get to the MAV and get out of the MAV than it is to get to the Bees and get out of the Bees, because it's major freeway. You know, you're now, I know getting out of the MAV, you know, patience, totally get it. But once you're on the street, you're out. It's done. Right? Like it's like, that's it. So to me,
31st, 35th.
Yeah, like it's
215, the belt loop.
Yeah, you've Bangerter access, you have 215 access, like you have plenty of access. So that's what I'm saying. My only concern with this is just the traffic management. I hope, like you were just saying, I hope they close Daybreak Parkway. I hope they cut it off. You know, once you get up to the first traffic circle heading towards
I hope they cut it off at 4th and it's a local thoroughfare only. I think you have to force people to take Trax, or you got to force them to come down Mountain View corridor.
Yeah.
You have to force it.
Yeah.
I don't see any other way.
Yeah.
Boyd Lake, what's up? He says, so did they have to drain Ochre Lake with the drought? No, Ochre Lake was fine. It was stocked all season long. It's got fish and ducks and birds.
But it's self-managed too, though. You have to understand that. So it's you know, obviously, you know, man-made, like self-managed, like replaces its own water. Like, yeah, it's fine.
Troy Cushing said this is going to choke the S out of Mountain View, two-lane highway. They did a crappy job on that 2-lane. They should have done 4, and I think they're gonna.
But that's the point, though. They didn't need to do 4 at that time. I agree with you. Troy, that they didn't need to do, or they should have done 4, but they just didn't need to. But they needed another thoroughfare. So to me, it makes perfect sense. If you've ever driven Mountain View, you can look up and down that damn highway, and you know there is real estate for days to make a 4-lane freeway, essentially. You know that. So to me, it makes sense.
Yep. Tom, good morning, Tom. What's up? He says, will they change the Trax station name? Probably not. It'll always be Daybreak. Louis Capazzo, in order to keep up with other teams and not go broke, you have to make improvements. If this means moving, then you move, no matter how much history there is there. Totally agree with that.
And what happens if the ballpark they build is like twice as nice, and
it's going to be a palace,
is way nicer, and
dude,
like, you know,
since when has the LHM organization done things halfway? Mm-hmm. I don't think they have, and I think when you're building a baseball facility like this, and it's going to be, you know what it's going to do? I think it's going to be a community hub for Daybreak. Because again, if you don't know, there's all kinds of activities all summer long in Daybreak, from concerts, food trucks, community rallies, car shows. There's all kinds of stuff that happens in Daybreak. And I never knew it living here until I moved to Daybreak. I had no idea how amazing it is. And I'm a huge fan of Daybreak. The HOA sucks. Yeah, it really does.
It does.
But I can see them doing big outdoor concerts. I can see them doing...
Well, because the problem right now in Daybreak, and this is something I experience weekly, living where I live, you know, as we were showing you there by the track station. I experience this weekly in the summer, right? Driving home, there is a concert every Friday night during the summer for a particular amount of time. And it absolutely I wouldn't say it causes chaos. It's just busy on Soda Row. It just is. All the street parking's full. They have this field that fills up, and that's why I think that's part of this in LHM's mind, in my opinion. If you live in Daybreak, you understand, okay, there's not really a true facility to house the weekly summer concert like all these things they want to do.
Because when they're full, those spill out onto the parkway.
Yeah.
And Soda Row is just bananas.
It becomes a downtown-esque complex.
It's bananas.
Not that it's some major metropolitan downtown, but it just feels that way. And by the way, it needs to be said, it's already hey, everybody walks around community. That's what Daybreak is.
Yep, this hour of the show presented by our good friends at Barbecue Pit Stop, bbqpitstop.com, Logan, Layton, Lehigh, the Jeezy, St. George, and Murray right there across on State from the mall. Yeah, I can't tell you enough how fun it's been to watch people fall in love with Asado seasoning.
So awesome.
So many of our listeners have sent us tweets and pictures, and so many of the guys in the membership group now have gotten Asado seasoning. I'm telling you, if it's the only thing you ever buy from Barbecue Pit Stop, that's probably foolish.
Dude, we tried Asado seasoning on eggs yesterday. My God.
Oh, my God.
My God, dude.
That's how
Mind
into
blown.
Asado seasoning I am.
Mind blown.
I'm all in on it. I am a guy that I'm pretty rhythmic when it comes to food. Asado wings, Asado eggs, Asado ribs, Asado moms. Like, I'm telling you. Outside of some chafing, Asado makes everything better.
Wow.
And so what I would say is...
Stay seated.
Get to bbqpitstop.com. And again, when you hear the name Barbecue Pit Stop, the best barbecue equipment, whether that is a pellet smoker, a pizza oven, a Traeger, a big green egg, a Yoder, a Camp Chef, you name it. When you hear Barbecue Pit Stop, you're getting the best equipment. There's no doubt about that. The service and the people you get, that's what you're paying for at Barbecue Pit Stop. Because you get outstanding customer service. You get outstanding, hey, I'm on their website. I don't know, hey, where's the Asado seasoning from Flavor Knuckles? You ask them, they'll point you right there. Hey, by the way, can I put that Asado seasoning on wings? What's the best way to do that? Hey, do I need to wrap my brisket? Hey, how long should I let my steak rest off the grill?
Yeah.
They're going to talk to you about that stuff. And the best part is, like, during the holidays, they had all these videos about smoking a turkey breast or making tacos, or you just love those guys because all of those stores from Logan, Layton, Lehigh, St. George, and Murray, those are all entrepreneurs, man. And they're just good people to do business with. Tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Get to bbqpitstop.com or go into any of their 5 Utah locations. All right, let's get some of your comments. Back to the Utah Jazz in 8 minutes right here on the Monty Show. Mike Chase says, don't care. It's leaving downtown. The parking sucks. I agree with Monty on that one. It's a major problem for me. It's why I don't go. And my wife, the first thing my wife said, I sent her a picture of the location where it was going to be in Daybreak. She said, yay, we can walk to games.
Yes, dude.
It's exactly right. It's probably a 10-minute walk.
I'm telling you
to the
guys,
game.
man. That's what I'm saying. Like, I love baseball. Baseball in this town is underserved. And I think part of that reason, with all due respect to that downtown location, it's just trouble. Like, it is.
Yeah.
Like, it just is painful.
And it's not a great neighborhood. There's not great parking.
Yeah.
It's a pain with the train tracks right there, and it's hard to get out of there, man. Like, I think this is a home run for baseball in this town. It really is. Arlington Bears. Good morning, Chris. How are you, man? He says, if you understand the long-term planning for the Mountain View corridor is well planned, it is a well-planned transit system.
Yes.
Yeah, and Chris does, by the way. I think, by the way, there's no better place for a Jack in the Box than Daybreak by the ballpark.
Put it in the corner, man. I want my tacos, and then I want baseball.
Let's
okay?
go. Hit dingers.
Yeah.
Anyway, good to see you, Chris. By the way, did you hear the Bears yesterday, Chris Carnes, saying that they're committed to Arlington Park?
God, what a joke.
They're moving off the lakefront, man, I'm telling you. But that's a different show. Geoff says, I can't wait. I bet they'll have a playground for kids, good food, everything. Jeff, Jeff is like us. We all love baseball. There is a really good, albeit small, but mighty group of us here on the Monty Show that love baseball. Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to be amazing. C says, any chance we get an MLB team? I don't think so.
No, I don't. But I think...
I don't think so.
That's a great question, though. Very pertinent. I think that's why this is happening, if I'm being honest, because I think... I would guess, I don't know them personally, don't have any information, right? But I would guess that the LHM group understands, hey, there's not going to be a major league team here, so why don't we move this team, put it in a better location, bring better facilities, maximize revenue, do everything we can do to feed this thing. That's what this is about. So to me, it's much like all the stories you've told me about you guys going to the River Cats back in the day. Right? Like where you have this great experience and everyone thinks that, oh my God, if you're not Major League Baseball, you're not the NBA or the NFL, the top tier in sport, that it can't be a great thing in the local community.
I cannot wait to do shows in Daybreak. I am that into baseball. If there are games there, we'll do live shows. We'll do live shows down there. I cannot wait to do it. I'm really excited about that. Troy Cushing, who's a member, says, great show today. Like always, guys. Thanks, Troy. Appreciate that. Mike Chase again says, I would probably attend more if it's out there. Totally agree. Ron, what's up? Says, does Daybreak have a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints temple? They do. The Ochre Temple?
No, they have the Ochre Temple, and there's probably 5 steaks within 10 minutes drive of where I live.
I mean, the population's exploding, so you know they're going to build more. They're going to build more steaks. I mean, and with more steaks comes more temples. But the Ochre Temple is majestic. Holy cow. If you've seen the Ochre Temple, if you've ever driven through the Salt Lake Valley, even the I-15 corridor, you've seen it. It is, the church, man. They have the best. They have the best land,
right, dude.
And where the Ochre Temple is, you can't miss it. You just can't. Preston says, did he just say Asado moms? No. What? What? No.
Yes.
No. Lewis says, no jack up north. It can only be down south, so you have an excuse to come visit. Sorry, man. Sorry, where's that first one opening?
Saratoga Springs.
Excited about that. Preston says, MLB, baby.
Yeah.
Brandon Whiteside says, go Raptors. Go Ogden Raptors. There
go Tigers.
Go Tigers. No joke. I'll come see you guys at ball games. Yeah, Jeff. I'm super stoked, man.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, so this is
super stoked.
So this is the kind of thing that makes it more palatable for me to be paying $1,800, $1,900 a month for a 1-bedroom.
Well, you are
I'm
really
pissed about it, dude. I'm not happy about it. I'm upset about it.
I'm telling you that in the next 18 months, and this is a non-sports story, but you got to prioritize buying a house. The mortgage rates are back in the low 6s. Like, yeah, for you specifically, if you're not out of there by 2025,
it's a problem.
We're doing something wrong. That's what I would say. All right, you guys ready to talk Utah Jazz basketball? Let's do it after these words from the Advocates.
We got stuck in traffic at a construction zone, and I got rear-ended at 80 miles an hour, so I needed help. They just stepped in and pretty much took care of everything. If you're in a motor vehicle accident or situation, call the Advocates.